You pick up your phone to check one notification, 20 minutes vanish, you don't remember deciding to keep scrolling. You just look up and the light outside has changed. But the real answer for why this happens is far stranger than weak willpower or a badly designed app. Your brain isn't broken. It's doing exactly what it was built to do, 100,000 years too early for the world you live in now. Start with a simple question. What is your brain actually looking for when your thumb moves across the glass? Not information, not entertainment. It's looking for something else entirely, something your ancestors searched for every single day of their lives. It's looking for the next good patch. Picture a small band of early humans moving across a grassland 60,000 years ago. They don't know where the next meal is. A berry bush might be full, or it might be stripped bare by birds. A riverbank might hold fish, or it might hold nothing but mud. The only way to survive is to keep checking, keep moving, keep sampling the environment for a signal that something better is nearby. This behavior has a name in evolutionary biology. Researchers call it patch foraging, and it comes with a very specific psychological reward system attached to it. Every time an early forager found a new patch of food, even a small one, their brain released a burst of dopamine. Not because the food itself felt good yet. The dopamine came before the reward, at the moment of discovery. This is the part almost everyone gets wrong about dopamine. You've probably heard it called the pleasure chemical. It isn't. Neuroscientist Wolfram Schultz spent years recording dopamine activity in the brains of animals as they searched for rewards, and what he found reshaped the entire field. Dopamine doesn't spike when you get the reward. It spikes when you predict one might be coming. It's not the chemical of pleasure, it's the chemical of anticipation, which means your brain isn't built to reward you for finishing something. It's built to reward you for checking. There's a mathematical side to this too, and it comes from a concept called optimal foraging theory. It's a simple idea with enormous consequences. Any forager, animal or human, is constantly running an unconscious calculation. Stay in this patch and keep gathering what's left, or leave and search for a better one somewhere else. Stay too long in a patch, and you waste time on diminishing returns. Leave too early, and you miss out on food that was still there. The brain that strikes the right balance survives. The brain that gets it wrong starves or exhausts itself chasing patches that don't exist. Over hundreds of thousands of years, natural selection tuned this calculation with extraordinary precision. It didn't tune it for a world with infinite patches. It tuned it for a world with real scarcity, where searching had a cost and where eventually every patch ran dry. Now hold that thought and think about your phone again. Every app on your home screen is a patch. Every feed is a landscape your ancestors would recognize instantly, just rebuilt out of glass and code instead of grass and rivers. You pull down to refresh. Maybe there's something good. Maybe there isn't. You don't know until you check, and that uncertainty is the entire engine. This isn't an accident, and it isn't only ancient instinct at work. In the 1950s, a psychologist named B.F. Skinner ran a series of experiments on pigeons that would end up explaining why you check your phone 40 seconds after you already checked it. Skinner discovered that if you reward an animal every single time it performs an action, the behavior is strong but predictable. The animal does the task, gets the reward, and stops. But if you reward the animal on a random schedule, sometimes yes, sometimes no, no way to predict which, the behavior becomes almost impossible to extinguish. The animal keeps pressing the lever, over and over, chasing a pattern that isn't there. This is called a variable ratio reinforcement schedule, and it is, without exaggeration, the most powerful behavioral hook known to psychology. It's the same mechanism that makes slot machines so effective, and it is, whether by design or by accident of what simply performs best, the exact mechanism sitting underneath every social feed you scroll. You don't know if the next post will be boring or brilliant. You don't know if the next message will be nothing or something that changes your day. That uncertainty is not a flaw in the experience. It is the experience. Think about how strange that actually is. If every post you saw was guaranteed to be good, you'd feel satisfied and put the phone down. If every post was guaranteed to be bad, you'd stop checking almost immediately. Neither of those outcomes keeps you scrolling. It's the mix, the unpredictability, the not knowing, that keeps the behavior alive. Skinner's pigeons press their lever thousands of times an hour under a variable schedule, far more than they ever did under a guaranteed one, because the uncertainty itself became the thing worth chasing. Your ancestors lived inside a variable schedule every day without knowing it had a name. A hunt might succeed or fail. A foraging trip might turn up nothing, or it might turn up more food than the group could carry home. There was no way to make the outcome predictable, so evolution didn't build you to need predictability. It built you to tolerate uncertainty, and even to be drawn toward it, because tolerating that uncertainty was the only way to keep searching long enough to eventually succeed. But here's where it gets even stranger, and this is the part your ancestors would find genuinely alarming if they could see it. Psychologist Kent Berridge, working out of the University of Michigan, spent decades studying something most people assume is a single feeling. Wanting something and liking something feel like the same emotion from the inside. Berridge's research split them apart. He found that wanting and liking run on separate systems in the brain. You can want something intensely, feel pulled toward it, feel like you need to check it right now, while at the very same time getting almost no pleasure from it once you do. Sound familiar? Berridge's research went further than just naming the two systems. He found that the wanting system, the one built on dopamine, can actually grow stronger the less satisfaction it delivers. In animal studies, when a reward became less reliable and less pleasurable, the wanting response didn't shrink. It intensified. The brain, faced with a search that wasn't paying off, didn't conclude that the search was pointless. It concluded that the search needed to happen more urgently. That's the scroll. You feel the pull, you check, and then, more often than not, there's nothing there. No real reward. Just another patch that turned out to be empty, and a brain that's already moving on to check the next one, because wanting doesn't wait for liking to catch up. For your ancestors, this system was calibrated to a world with real limits. A grassland only has so many patches. A day only has so much daylight. Eventually, the foraging had to stop, because the environment itself ran out. Your phone never runs out. There is no edge to the feed. There is no moment where the environment says, "That's all there is, go home." The patch generates itself infinitely, refreshing the instant you reach the bottom, which means the ancient system that once had a natural off switch is now running in an environment purpose-built to never let it find one. Think about what that actually means. The same neural circuitry that once helped a small band of humans survive drought, find water, track migrating herds, and avoid starving in a hard season is now the circuitry deciding whether you finish the email you were supposed to send an hour ago. Engineers who build these platforms understand patch foraging, even if they've never heard the term. Every design choice that keeps you scrolling, the pull to refresh gesture that mimics pulling a slot machine lever, the autoplay that removes the natural stopping point at the end of a video, the red notification badge that signals a patch has changed without telling you how, is a small, deliberate exploitation of a search instinct that took evolution 100,000 years to build and only a few years to weaponize. You are not fighting a neutral tool. You are fighting a system that was tested, measured, and refined against millions of other brains just like yours, all running the same ancient software. You are not weak for struggling with this. You are ancient hardware meeting an environment your biology never had time to prepare for. Evolution moves across tens of thousands of years. Your phone was redesigned to be more addictive roughly every 18 months. There was never going to be a fair fight. So, what do you do with that? Understanding the mechanism doesn't switch it off, but it does something almost as useful. It changes what the pull actually means to you the next time you feel it. That itch to check, the one that shows up mid-sentence, mid-conversation, mid-thought, isn't a sign that something important is waiting. It's a 100,000-year-old foraging instinct firing in a landscape that was never built to have an edge. Some researchers studying modern hunter-gatherer societies, groups like the Hadza in Tanzania, have found something worth sitting with. Their foraging days are punctuated by long stretches of rest, conversation, and simply doing nothing in particular. Not because they lack drive, but because the environment gives them a clear signal. The patch is empty. Time to stop. Time to be present with the people actually in front of them. There is no infinite grove of berries waiting just past the horizon. There is no feed that refreshes the moment the last one runs dry. The environment itself enforces an ending, and the human mind, freed from the pull of one more patch, turns naturally toward rest and toward other people. That shift isn't willpower either. It's just what a foraging brain does once foraging is actually finished. Your environment never gives you that signal anymore. You have to give it to yourself. This is not a call to throw your phone in a river or delete every app you own. Your ancestors didn't survive by avoiding the search instinct. They survived because of it. The instinct itself isn't the problem. The problem is a landscape engineered to never let that instinct rest, built by people who studied exactly what Skinner, Schultz, and Berridge discovered and used it to keep a patch open in your pocket 24 hours a day. Knowing that changes something. Not the pull itself, that will always be there, humming under the surface, older than language, older than fire. What changes is your ability to recognize it the moment it shows up, to notice the itch, name it for what it is, and ask yourself a simple question the moment your thumb starts to move. Is there actually something here, or am I just checking the patch again? Tonight, when you feel your thumb drifting toward the screen for the 10th time in an hour, you might notice something. It isn't your willpower failing. It's a hunter, still walking an invisible grassland, still checking one more patch, still waiting for a reward that was never really about the food. It was always about the search. And the moment you see the search for what it is, you get to decide, for the first time, whether to keep walking.